All right, welcome to Dual Redundancy, the only podcast where you can hear all latest in television and entertainment news with too many hosts with exactly the same opinions. I'm one of those hosts, David Allen, and another one is
John Berwick, and a third one is
Kyle Bridger. I would say that I am the brother Dawn to John's brother Day to Day's brother Dusk.
the old man on the pod.
Old man.
But
who's apparently that's Terrence Mann. I didn't know that was Terrence Mann.
I didn't know that either. But pretty much three people that are exactly the same. That's Dual Redundancy in a nutshell right here.
Yeah.
Three clones, same opinions. We're going to talk about Foundation. We're going to try to figure it all out. And then we're also going to talk about, it's almost October. It's spooky season. We're talking Midnight Mass on Netflix. A lot to do tonight. We got to jump into the show. So, John, just tell me, what's the first segment?
In and Out Points.
In or the out. In or the out. In, out.
Yes, it is in and out points. This first one is something to watch because this could really, really shake up the entertainment industry. We're talking about the International Alliance of Theatrical Stage Employees, Moving Picture Technicians, Artists, and Allied Crafts of the United States, its territories, and Canada. Or, as we're going to refer to it, IATSE. That's the shorthand of that.
I didn't know how to pronounce it for the shorthand.
I believe that's how you pronounce it, according to Reddit at least. It's because this group, IATSE, may be nearing a strike. Now, this group, which includes everything from grips to cinematographers, editors, hairstylists, so many different groups, all the behind the scenes people, well, they could strike and could effectively shut down film and television productions. So this is big. This is huge. Kyle, I know we're talking about this strike. What did you hear about it, and how do you think that this could affect everything?
Well, it's going to be a massive wave in the production landscape. And I mean, if you really think about it, I think it was a long time coming, because we know on these production shoots, and I know from firsthand experience with some reality TV production shoots, where they're going minimum 12-hour days. And I remember myself doing these shoots where it's like 14, sometimes 16-hour days, and then the turnaround was so quick. It's like no one's getting a proper break. The oversight is terrible. And I feel like the entertainment industry, in a way, is kind of left to its own devices. And it's really made off of the back of people who work for low wages. And that goes from productions down to assistants. And it's really top heavy with producers making a lot of money. So really, to me, it's a long time coming. And I think the straw that broke the camel's back, so to speak, is the COVID situation, because now it's even worse. They're sticking with these same, time constraints with the added protocols. And with some, the protocols aren't even being adhered to. So, I'm actually surprised this hasn't happened sooner.
Yeah, it was dangerous before COVID, and now it's even worse. And we've worked in production. I got out of production because of these long days for very little money. And there's people there were there before me and after me. These call times are absurd. These grips and these people with lighting, and for the set, you get in there call times like 4 a.m. and then you're there shooting all day, and then they got to take it all down, and then they have to come right back the next day. It's so much hard work, and it's a very complex issue. It's constantly changing. It's ongoing as we speak now. Tomorrow we might have updates. They might initiate the strike. It's a lot of stuff going on, but we're going to talk quickly about some of the problems they want fixed and addressed. And As we mentioned, excessively unsafe and harmful working hours, unlivable wages for the lowest paid crafts, failure to provide reasonable rest during meal breaks between workdays and on weekends, and workers on certain new media streaming projects get paid less even when budgets rival or exceed traditional release blockbusters. That's a whole other thing with this as well. Not only are the conditions, but also pay for these streaming shows that, oh, it's a streaming project, but it's like, no, this is a big budget TV show.
For sure.
So yeah, I remember, meal breaks are always tough because they're supposed to, after a certain number of hours, you're supposed to get a meal break, but a lot of people have to work through those meal breaks, and they're working work days, they're working weekends. Like there's that, I think they call it like Fraturday, where because there's, you start on Monday at 8 a.m. and you do the 12 hours, and there's supposed to be a turnaround, and that pushes the week, and it keeps pushing and pushing and pushing. So then you get to Friday, and then you're there, you get there at 2 p.m, but then you're working till 4 a.m. on Saturday. And then it cycles around again on Monday. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a brutal schedule. And there's really an unspoken rule of, at least when, when you're trying to make it up through that, you just have to do the job because you don't want to be the person that's holding everything back. And I mean, when you're talking about the lowest level, like production assistants and stuff like that, it's going to be, you're just trying to make it, and you're going to do whatever you're told to try and make it in the industry. But when it comes to more skilled stuff, like your grips and stuff like that, you don't want to be the one holding up the production, right? These conditions have been going on for a while. And I think people are just sick of seeing the top get paid and not having the ability to have a life outside of this. And I just remember when we were studying at Ithaca, is like some girl having like a realization in class of like, wait, so if I'm going to be doing this all the time, like I want kids, I can't do that doing this. And it's just not,
you don't have the time or money.
There's no way to live a healthy lifestyle like this. And I mean, what is the plus side? You get your name in a credit, and maybe you get that esteem boost from, hey, I worked on this production,
a television show that'll last of all eternity.
Yeah, but like after that, it's just not healthy.
It's not enough,
and the wages are horrible. They're bad.
Yeah. The last time we seen probably anything like this was the big writer strike back in 2007, 2008. I believe that was like 12,000 writers. I from what I could see, IATSE represents more than 150,000 workers. And this isn't just like writers, like this is every facet of production, between hair, makeup, editors, cinematographers, lighting. This is everything involved with the production. You can't work around this. You need, because back with the writer's strike, it's like, okay, well, let's do a reality like boost. It was like so much reality TV show came from that writer's strike. Well, you can't make those shows without everything I mentioned already. So this is really going to cripple, especially after COVID, like all the shows that they had stockpiled, like they went through them because they weren't shooting anything during COVID. Now that things are picking up, like they need something for the air. Soon there's not going to be anything with this strike. And many actors have spoken out about this, siding with IATSE, DGA, SAG-AFTRA, WGA. They're all standing with them as well. I believe the vote will start October 1st, so it's coming up. We'll see if they initiate the strike and what happens with that. But really ongoing.
There's certain steps that need to be taken in any union. You can't just say, hey, we're going on a strike. It's, you have to do like a vote and make sure that a certain percentage and, everyone has to get on board. And then there has to be a reason and all this stuff. And so there's layers to it. So the fact that we're already hearing rumblings of this means that stuff is in the works. So it'll be interesting to see where it goes. But I don't know how, if you're a producer or something, you aren't immediately like, what do we do? Like, what do you do? I mean, show podcasts. I mean, what do you do? What do you do? Because these unions are huge, and it's good that they've unionized and are using their power to try and change the working conditions. Okay, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. I'm sure we'll talk about it in the future if it does come to fruition. One thing that may be affected by this is something that we heard about last week. The internet was abuzz. It's a new animated project, the Super Mario Brothers animated movie. The film will release December 21st of next year, hopefully. And it's going to star Chris Pratt as the iconic Nintendo character Mario. John, already shaking your head. Is this I don't know what your corner is. It's not the Kyle's corner. What's John's John's room? What do you have to say about this?
Oh man, I watched this announcement live and I couldn't believe it. Some of the choices they made. I mean, it seems obvious to me that they reached into the grab bag of big names and just pulled out whoever they thought would sell the best. And I'm a little disappointed at some of the choices. I don't necessarily think Chris Pratt is who I would choose for Mario. You know, and Seth Rogen for Donkey Kong seems like a weird choice too. Like, I don't know. All the voices are just they're too familiar, and they're too, like, their personalities don't work. I was talking the other day about how, what is it? Oh, why, like, Keegan-Michael Key is Toad. Swap him with Mario. Let Day and Key play off of each other. That sounds like a great combo. You know what I mean? Like, why is Chris Pratt Mario?
Chris Pratt is
Why is Chris
the
Pratt
A-list
Mario?
actor versus Keegan-Michael Key, who's the television actor. And
they're setting themselves up to just be lame. I don't know. I'm not into
this is like an internet fan casting, I feel like, where it's just like, oh yeah, Anya Taylor-Joy, that's Princess Peach. Oh, who's hot right now? You know, like, and like, just, you know, who's the A-list person that's coming up? We got to get them involved. And oh yeah, Charlie Day. Jack Black. We love Jack Black. Let's throw him there as Bowser. It's just like they're just throwing names and darts at the wall and seeing what sticks. And there is some wild choices. And it's just like, I liked Chris Pratt in the Lego movie. Okay, that character worked with this. I just don't see him as the Italian plumber of Mario. Like, I just don't see the accent. I don't see the voice, the pairing with Luigi. I saw a lot of people like, get Danny DeVito and Charlie Day, the Always Sunny team, as Mario and Luigi. Something there, but
what
I don't know.
I think is even worse is, for the past how many ever years, there's been a voice of Mario. There's been a voice of Luigi. There's been a voice of half the characters. Why are you not choosing him? Like, I get you're trying to sell it with his big names, but like, they have voices. Like, I don't know. It feels really weird that they wouldn't go with their canonical voices for an animated thing when, not that he's not doing anything, but he's, Charles Martinet, he's still alive. He's still working. Like,
and you could probably get the film made for a much lower budget instead of hiring Chris Pratt.
Have all these guys be cameos. Yeah. Have them be cameos or be villains or, anything. But I don't know.
Yeah, there's a lot of talented voice actors, and it's weird to me because, like, even before we started the podcast, I was watching TV and I saw an ad for Paw Patrol, the movie, and they were marketing it with the voice actors in it. It's like, oh, make sure you check out Paw Patrol with Jimmy Kimmel as so-and-so. I'm like, okay, like, I'm not gonna rush out to the theater because Jimmy Kimmel isn't. Oh, I wasn't gonna see Paw Patrol, but he's in it. I'm in it now. It's still this movie, like, just because. I don't know, I find the idea of like voice actors, like, getting these big names for these parts. You should get the best voice actor for it, not just the star, because, like, who's going to see the movie? Like, when we were kids, all those animated movies we saw, did you know, like, who they were when you were a little kid? I don't think so. I don't even know if you know them now.
The kids
half
just
of
want to
them.
see it, and the adults don't care. They just want to take the
Yeah.
kids because the kids are annoying them. Like, you know what I mean? Like, nobody's going because of Chris Pratt.
Yeah. Kyle, you've been a little silent in this. Any thoughts on the Chris Pratt Mario casting and this movie?
I just agree with everything that you're saying. They're trying to sell a movie with the names rather than the product. If they wanted a really good product, they would get voiceover actors that are trained in this stuff that could do the voices much, much better. And that's just the fact of the matter. And I mean, we know what they're trying to do when they're. I'm not discrediting
Yeah.
any of these actors
They're
as actors.
talented
And
actors, yeah.
Yes, and I'm sure that possibly they might be good at voiceover, but there are trained actors in voiceover that do a hell of a job at this kind of thing. And it's kind of a shame that we don't honestly search for that kind of talent for a project like this, because we could get them name recognition for those roles. Like I know, because I mean, I worked in voiceover for a while, and I know several actors that do a great job with like audiobooks, with like Star Wars stuff, and they play a whole huge swath of Star Wars characters. So,
I mean, we worked with somebody on a talk show that does a great Morgan Freeman impression.
yeah,
It's like he can just rattle off all these impressions. It's just like, instead of hiring Morgan Freeman sometimes, they just hire him
yeah.
to do it. And this is what you need to do too. It's just find the person for it instead of just finding an A-list star to put in this for name recognition when.
Yeah, and in fact, there have been times where for movie trailers and stuff like that, they hire sound-alikes of voiceover actors to do the voices in the trailers. They don't even want the actor doing the stuff. So it's just it's all about name recognition. It's a shame. I mean, I know what they're trying to do, but they're trying to sell like a big budget movie, and they think Chris Pratt and all these other people will do that, when in reality there are other people that I think would be much more capable and be able to do a lot more with the character.
It's crazy too, because this is already IP. Like, this is already a Mario movie that would have already gotten probably people to check it out.
Yeah.
You didn't need this as well to just inflate the budget, because these actors are not cheap. So you could have made this for cheaper, and it was already going to get people to tune in because it's Mario. It's a classic video game character that we've all known for years and years.
And the thing is like, it's also like, you know, Bowser, Jack Black, you could see him doing a little something over the top. Like, I get that. Charlie Day as Luigi, maybe, you can kind of see it. Anna Taylor-Joy as Princess Peach, you could kind of see the vibe. But when you have Chris Pratt, like, it just, I don't know the connection. What kind of connection to, I mean, looks wise, there's none. Vocal quality, I don't, from every Mario game I've played, it doesn't have Chris Pratt's vocal quality, so I don't understand this.
Chris Pratt.
Because what are they gonna do? Just go in a computer and let's modulate the voice, let's pitch it up, let's bring it down, let's do. It's like, then just hire the person. Don't do all this extra work to hide the performance. It's just.
Yeah, Chris Pratt and Seth Rogen are the two that mystify me. The rest, I'm like, all right, interesting, I could deal with that. But those two, I have no idea.
They started naming more people in this cast release as you got farther and farther down. I'm just not familiar, I think, with Mario. And there's characters. I'm like, are we just Fred Armisen as Cranky Kong? Is that a real character? Like, I don't remember this.
Yes.
But it's just like, are we just making up roles now and characters to throw in Fred Armisen and all these other random people into? Sure, why not? Cranky Kong.
It's just a shit. I just feel bad for the voiceover actors that I think this would be a great opportunity for. It just stinks. Just stinks.
All right. Well, that was one IP big project. The other one is coming to Netflix, a whole cinematic universe, an IP franchise. Netflix is working to find theirs, and they may have found it with Roald Dahl, because the streamer has acquired the Roald Dahl story collection, whose children's books include Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Matilda, the BFG, Fantastic Mr. Fox, and so many more. All right. We talked about was it Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory for the 50th anniversary recently. So we're into this world. We're in. Are you ready for all these remakes and reboots and continuations, Kyle?
Yeah, this is just surprising to me. I mean, I feel like the BFG or whatever was just like maybe 5-10 years ago. It's like, why are we doing this? And then we have whatever the Timothée Chalamet one that's coming out, right? So
Wonka.
I'm not a huge fan of these. I mean, they're fine, but I don't see the need for it. We got to get back to mid-level budget films that, can be appealing and not just something that's attached and it's done again and again. It's just frustrating. It's just so frustrating, man.
Yeah, it's like, haven't we already had enough of these movies and remakes? As you mentioned, the BFG just came out. There was a Fantastic Mr. Fox that came out, a Matilda movie that we've known, 2 Charlie and the Chocolate Factory movies with another one prequel coming. Like, did we really? Is there enough here to do it all over again? Just to put a new coat of paint on all these stories and just do them again. And okay, but like I've heard, I mean, the financial details weren't disclosed in the article, but it was believed that this is one of the biggest purchases Netflix has made to date. And we know how much money Netflix is spending on these. So this must be a huge buy for them. And it's like, really, is this really worth it? Is this really going to change the game? Is this really going to get more subscribers? Like, I don't see it.
That's before production too.
Yeah,
that's huge true. Purchase before production.
The Lord of the Rings Amazon thing that they did, they spent $500 million just on the rights or whatever it was.
I think the only Roald Dahl one I really like is James and the Giant Peach, and we haven't.
We had one movie when we were a kid.
Yeah, I remember that.
I like that one.
But yeah, I mean, still, if we're talking about remakes, there's been several others of the other adaptations of this stuff for the other works that he's done. So it's just interesting what gets remade and what doesn't. It must be James and the Giant Peach is too a little bit, I don't know, kooky or out there. I don't know.
I'd rather them do that, because it's something new, quote unquote, then we're gonna see Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. I wonder what happens. Does he get a golden ticket? Does he go? It's like, we've seen this story year after year. It's classic. We've seen it, we've heard it. Okay, enough. But
I just wonder. I wonder from Netflix's perspective, what numbers they're seeing that would warrant a huge purchase like this. Yeah. Because it must not just be the viewership. There has to be some kind of merchandising that they can capitalize on it. Because otherwise, I don't know. We're all in the same boat, but I don't know if it's just us.
Are they trying to get families? Is this more for kids than us?
Yeah.
But even still, it's like, I feel like they have plenty of kid shows and animated shows. And is this really the IP, the cinematic universe, when Disney is already competing with Star Wars and Marvel and like these big names and brands? And it's like, this is your, come back to that. It's like, I don't know if that is the same level of those two. I don't think so.
Yeah, it doesn't, I don't know. It just seems weird to me. I don't know what the numbers are behind the scenes, what's happening behind the scenes and what's happening in these meetings, but I would just love to see, because from my perspective, it does not make much sense to spend this much money for IP that because even I think about Tim Burton's like Willy Wonka's adaptation, and that wasn't like a huge success. I remember that being kind of like timid or tame, really, the reception to it. So I don't get it. I don't understand.
I don't know. Yeah, I think it's just this is their thing for kids. This is something for families to get them to keep watching. So while that's for the younger demographic, there is something for the older demographic that's coming. Some true crime. We got some true crime shows that they announced. One of which that we just pulled up here, The Tinder Swindler, is one of the documentaries that they're going to be showing. And also on the list are The Puppet Master, Bad Vegan, The Hunt for the Crypto King, and of course The Tinder Swindler. This is the Avengers right here. Those, the Puppet Master, the Bad Vegan, the Crypto King, and the Tinder Swindler.
Crypto King.
I don't know. Okay,
man.
I'm sure these will hit for that weekend, and then we won't hear about them again.
Yeah, true crime seems like a bubble like that's about to burst. I just feel like between the podcasts and all the shows that are out there, it's just there's too much. I mean, I know there's a following for that kind of thing, but now it just seems like overboard. I don't know.
And speaking of overboard, there's also one show that they announced at the very end of this teaser for true crime. Tiger King 2. Electric Boogaloo. Here we go. Tiger King 2 coming this November.
What could be in it? Him in prison? Because that's what it looks like right here.
Maybe it's gonna be like Serial, except it's the Tiger King from jail just talking on the phone.
Yeah.
I didn't kill her.
Is there anything more to say? Because this is, for me, the issue with this is this reminds me of Making a Murderer season 2. Remember when they did season 2 of Making a Murderer? Season 1 was huge. Everyone was talking about it. And then for the next year or two after that, every single thing that happened to that family, to any of those people involved, we got a daily news alert for it. The same thing happened here with Tiger King. The amount of stuff I've seen, Carol Baskin's now on Dancing with the Stars. Carol Baskin is now suing this. Joe Exotic is. We've talked about him multiple times on the podcast. Different updates from him. I think the place was sold off. Okay, now this person's dead. Oh, this person's alive. This person. We have all these stories already, so we know the story. We've been following it in real time. So now, just gonna repeat that back to us.
Yeah,
like Tiger King at least had years and years of preparation, of stories, of stuff we've never heard before. But now you're just going to do the last year that we all know over the same amount of episodes and really stretch it out like Making a Murderer 2.
Yeah, I think they're probably just hoping that people watch based on him as a character, as like that, to bring people over the edge, make sure that they keep watching because of the character. Because the story, I mean, we're all following, or we get alerts about the story. So I think it's going to be about, just trying to keep him as a character and that charismatic and keep him around. I just don't see it working. To me, it's going to be overload in a bad way, because soon we're going to have those Tiger King shows, right? They've got to be coming
supposedly,
at some point.
Peacock, let's get your act together here and do this show.
They're too busy in lawsuits.
Yeah, that is true. But it's like, okay, this thing came out in 2020. When is this show coming out? I get it, COVID happened, but you're going to air it in 2023 after Tiger King season 3, and you're going to show clips and recreations from the season 1 stuff. No one's going to care at that point about this. You missed the boat. Like when there was the People versus OJ, American Crime Story, the next month later was the OJ Made in America. So it was the OJ. It was right in the perfect time period. If you did the Tiger King series a month or two after the reality show, it would have probably clicked. But now nobody cares. It's we're moving on. We're talking about Tinder Swindler. Get that show going.
The Tinder Swindler.
You got to get ahead of this. We got to start making that show now, so it's ready to go when that thing drops.
The what? Tinder Swindler 2?
No, we're gonna recreate it.
Oh,
I don't know. I don't know. Actually, I don't know what the thing is about, so I probably shouldn't say that. I'm sorry, but I don't know. Actually, let me look this up real quick. Make sure it's nothing really bad. I think. I think it's just. Well, he's swindling. That's it. It's just he's tricking people. There's no murder involved. It looks like. So we're okay.
All right. Good. Yeah, I love how you said he's just swindling, like he's a 1940s,
I think. I'm not 100% sure, but that's the quick Google search I did.
Tinder
All
no
right,
swindler, right?
Yeah, there you
That's all
go.
I gotta say.
But still, you can't have something called a Tinder. I want to say the Tindler swindler. I don't know why, but the Tinder swindler and not laugh. I mean, it's just so ridiculous.
All
You know what
right.
Netflix needs to bring back? They
Uh-oh.
need to bring back shoot, the one about the penises on the car. What was that show?
Oh, I know which one you
American
mean.
Vandal.
Yeah,
American Vandal.
They let that
Yes.
show go. They let it go. It was a huge mistake. I believe those guys, I'm trying to remember what they're doing. They're doing another show, like another parody show. I think they're doing like a Last Dance type parody. So they're doing like a sports one.
Okay.
I think it's for Paramount Plus because American Vandal was actually a CBS, I think, studios production
Alright.
that they just aired on Netflix. I think that's what they're doing next.
That they should have never let those shows were good.
Yeah.
They were so good, so timely, so like specific to the culture at the time. It's so good.
Yeah.
Damn.
All right. Well, one show that Netflix does have airing right now is our next thing we're talking about. In order to talk about, we have to go back. So, guys, send us back.
We're back, baby.
Gotta get back in time.
All right. Midnight Mass. Should I turn the lights off for this to make it real spooky? No, I'm not going to do that. Okay.
Like you're in Blair Witch Project or something.
Midnight Mass, Book 1, Genesis was the series premiere. It dropped on September 24th. In this supernatural horror miniseries, the divisions of a small, isolated island community are amplified by the return of a disgraced young man and the arrival of a very charismatic priest. All right, we all saw Midnight Mass. Let's start off with John. What did you think of the series premiere?
I thought it was interesting. I feel like a lot happened and nothing happened almost. I mean, you basically summed it up as the guy got back to town and a new priest came. There's a storm. That's the episode. like I mean, I'm sure you could do that with any show and just boil it down to its bare components, but I don't know what else happened. I mean, they kind of set up that there's maybe potentially something scary living out on this island. The main character gets haunted by the ghost of this girl he killed. His dad doesn't like him, and that's kind of it. I mean, I don't know. I'm not saying it was bad. I just, thinking back on it, nothing there really meant like and grabbed me. You know, I want my horror needs to grab me in the dark and drag me into a new episode, and it just didn't quite do that. I wouldn't not watch another episode, but I don't feel that pull.
I hear you. I would say, and we'll talk about, there was a lot of groundwork that they set up on things. And this is definitely one of those shows I feel like you got to watch all of it or binge it or, kind of tell the full story before you can reflect on just one episode. The thing that's keeping me into this is the creator of it, Mike Flanagan, just his track record. Every year he has like this mini series that engages us on Netflix, whether Haunting of Hill House, next year with Bly Manor. He did the Dr. Sleep movie adaptation. So he's always doing something, and everything he does has something to say about a different topic, whether it was season 1 with like kind of addiction, season 2 with like love and grief. And obviously this season looks like it's going to deal with like religion and cults and that kind of whole vibe there. So I'm going in just because of that. I'm putting my chips into it because I trust this guy. Before I get too far down that hole, Kyle, thoughts on Midnight Mass?
I thought it was just okay. I didn't feel it as strong. It didn't pull me as strong as the first 2 adaptations that this guy has created. But I do like some of the actors, especially the guy from Friday Night Lights. That's kind of the guy that's come back to town and is trying to figure out his life, sort his life. This, interestingly enough, this one didn't scare me at all. And it relied on some, I think, like cliche, like jump scares. And whereas I felt the first 2 adaptations were really freaky, like they really, really creeped me out. I was scared a lot of the time. But this one, it still has that eerie, suspenseful feeling, which I do like. I do like that a lot. But I didn't find it necessarily scary, or the like scary moments where I'm like, oh my god, I really need to pause this and just like fast forward and see what's happening.
Yeah, I
so
remember
can,
watching the season 2 with you, and you were fast forwarding stuff or pausing stuff and to
yeah,
get through it. Because usually in these things, like you always got to keep your eyes peeled. There's like hidden faces in the background and stuff like that. We saw a little bit on that island with stray cats. There's like all these little eyes in the background, but then one of that set of eyes is actually like our height, and it's like, oh, wait a minute, what was that?
Yeah.
And then that was the jump scare moment. I will say I'm looking forward to the stuff that they set up. There's a lot of groundwork that they did. I mean, there's little clues of stuff. It's like, okay, there used to be hundreds of people on this island, and now just 127. There was an oil spill. I was like, is that involve something with that? There's this older lady with dementia that thinks she's seeing Peggy in the character of Aaron. It's like, well, maybe is she? Like maybe there's something there? Is this person Aaron, Peggy? I don't know. There's definitely a history between Aaron and this convict that came back from town. And then the priest, this weird suitcase and trunk came in. You hearing knocking back from it, feeding the creature. There's lots of dead cats washing up on shore. So there's definitely things to like, okay, what's going on here?
Yeah.
There's definitely setting up something. Something is coming.
For sure. And there's also, I'm not a very religious person, but I'm sure there are, I think the thing that's going to pull me out a little bit is I'm sure there are biblical references that I am not getting it from the dialogue and from what's happening. But I don't know enough about religion to see the parallels. Like some I'll get just from basic, understanding of living life. But I know there's more in depth, and it's a shame on my end that I know deep down that I'm not getting some of these references because of my lack of, background in religion.
And I will say, I grew up with church, and I could see a lot of this stuff. They would start doing mass, and I'm like, I know these lines line by line, and I haven't been there in years, and it just is like in me, like, and just between that and like the stuff with, I mean, there's definitely. I'm going to do some predictions here. I have not seen more than one episode. I stayed at one just for the podcast, just for this here. So I'm not spoiling anything. These are my predictions. But obviously, I think this church is doing something, is going to do something with brainwash and cults and stuff like that. This new priest taking over for the sick older priest, which went on a trip, even though Riley may have seen him in the storm running around. But obviously this guy's up to bad news. And maybe feeding or getting food for this creature or him or something. And I mean, just for instance, somebody at the congregation is like, oh, why did you wear a yellow robe today? That's for special days. Those are for feast days. And it's like, he plays it off. It's like, oh, wait, yeah, today should be green. But it's like, well, maybe it is a feast day. And then there's the altar boys who were like, got to do their setup and stuff like that. And it's like, oh, this wine and stuff it's already done. Somebody did this. It's like, well, is this wine possibly drugged or something with whatever thing he's going to take him over with? And that kind of leads into, I think, the 3 or 4 people that are not going to be taken over, because they kind of set that up in this first episode with, you got the sheriff who is Muslim, so won't be going to this church service. You have the convict who is not taking communion, and then the pregnant woman who probably is not going to have wine. So it's like, okay, all these things here. It's like maybe they're going to be the okay ones, and then everyone else is going to be brainwashed or something's going on with them. But
yeah, for sure. I like that prediction a lot. I just want to go back to this Monsignor who they think they see on the beach. To me, none of the other family sees him except the main character there. But if I'm the main character, I'm like, this dude's supposed to be 80 years old and I'm at a full sprint and I can't catch him. That's
Yeah.
telling me something
The
right there.
pouring rain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something's going on.
He's in
right
good
there.
shape. He's,
Yeah. Really good shape. He looks very thin and very spry for his age.
And his
Yes.
eyes are glowing. Weird.
Yeah. It's gonna be interesting. You could be going down the right path. You know, anytime there's a child involved, though, I always think demon child. There's some kind of demon child happening. Always, I feel like they always go for that little situation. But yeah, there is something eerie with the old lady. There's going to be something going on there. It could just be setting it up for she's going to see something she probably shouldn't, and then not remember because she,
or no one will believe her.
Yeah. So
one last thing I want to bring up too that I just like between this is like this creator Mike Flanagan has worked with all these actors before, so it's a lot of the same actors with this. Like in this season, we like the season, or the sheriff is the chef kind of from last season of Bly Manor, and I just like the idea of like having this like anthology ensemble where it's like a repertoire of actors. They come in, they're playing different characters in new roles, interacting with each other and different people, and it's like, okay, it's like a little theater troupe. I kind of like that.
Yeah,
idea.
it is cool, and I gotta imagine as an actor, it's pretty cool, right?
Yeah.
If you're the sheriff dude, you get to play a totally different character, and you have a pedigree from a creator that you like, so, and a fan base that's gonna keep watching. So, I gotta think it's got to be pretty cool as an actor too.
Yeah, so I'm gonna keep watching more. You guys gonna check out any more if you have time?
Yeah, I think it's one of those ones that I could easily watch on the train or something on the way to work, and
with the lights on with people
Dark
around
subway.
you, Kyle.
Yeah, as the lights go out. Yeah.
All right. Well, we got another show to talk about. This one's on a different streaming service, Apple TV Plus, and we're talking about Foundation: The Emperor's Peace. It also dropped on September 24th. It's based on the book of the same name, and this science fiction series chronicles the 1,000-year saga of the Foundation, a band of exiles who discovered that the only way to save the Galactic Empire from destruction is to defy it. All right, I'm going to say up front, any fans of Foundation, the book or the series, we're coming in as newbies here. We're not familiar with that. We don't know the details. We'll get things wrong. We apologize in advance. But Kyle, what did you think of the series premiere of Foundation?
I said this to you before the podcast, but it just reminds me of how I felt when I first started Game of Thrones, where they are like saying people's names and things. And I know it's probably important and maybe not hugely important for the base story, but I know if I knew more about it, it would be critical to knowing like the story as a whole. So I just already feel like I'm behind because it's just, they're like saying these words and I know it's supposed to mean something, but I don't know. So they're just like little details that are flittering.
You gotta get your dictionary out, watching it with it. You're like, okay, what's that word? Pause. Hang on, let me. Okay, next.
Yeah. So the story, I'm just getting bits and pieces of it here. I will say it looks beautiful.
Yeah,
it looks fantastic, and I really like several of the actors on the show. So I think the performances are enough, and it does look very, very good. For me, that I would give it a few more episodes to see if those characters and things hit a little bit more. But really, even with an hour 9-minute runtime in the first episode, I still feel like I'm, trying to sort out what's happening. I mean, they did set it up. They got us on the right path, but there's a lot happening in this world.
Yeah. And I agree completely. That's one of my notes I had where it's like, the dialogue, it has a few words in it that's like, we'll be okay if the whatchamacallit makes it to the outer rim. And you're like, okay, what's that? What's the outer rim? Like you're thrown right into this world. And we get some explanation and exposition from other characters explaining it to Gal, our young character in this story. And I almost kind of wish in this first episode we kind of maybe stayed with one group, with one story, maybe to kind of just set the foundation of the show first. We stayed with Jared Harris and his protege, for the first episode, and we kind of get the Ryan Howard of The Office in the pilot, where it's like, this is so and so, this is this. So like, because we're getting bogged down, I think, like with the history and the 3 clones, and sure, those are interesting things, and I like Lee Pace, and I just feel like when we got to the tribunal, that was very nice, because I feel like they were dumbing it down for the people of the world, but also for us. And it's like they're explaining beat by beat, what do you mean by this? What do you mean by this? So like that helped me out.
Yeah, definitely.
When we got to that, because it's complicated. It's complicated. But yeah, visually stunning. It looks expensive. CGI is vast. I saw this one headline. I can't find who wrote it, but it was the Foundation is like a very beautiful, expensive screensaver. It's just like, it's just you could put it on mute, and it just looks beautiful. And you mentioned the cast. I'm sure Jared Harris and Lee Pace are probably some of your favorites there, Kyle.
Yeah, definitely. I love both of them. Jared Harris from Mad Men and several other things. Lee Pace from *Halt and Catch Fire*. And I think they're both phenomenal actors, and I'm waiting to see more. I really enjoyed the girl too. I thought she did a good job. I don't know her name offhand here, but the main character that's female, she was really, really good. So the more I thought about it, the more I did enjoy it. I just felt so overwhelmed that I was like, can I take this on right now?
It's a lot. The episodes are long, and there's a lot going on. I mean, even just like, so Lee Pace is like this adult age genetic clone, and he's the middle child of the 3 time periods. So there's like 3 versions of him ruling this world. And it's like, I like the idea of this, but I'm also like thinking about it. Wait, how does this work? What does this mean? Does one get old? Like, it's hard to wrap my mind around it. I like the idea of these things that this show has set up, the elevator from like space down to the ground. Like, I like some of the things that they set up. It's just very confusing. And
no, go for it, because I'm probably going to go off on 2 tangents that 2 questions that I have for you guys. Do you want me to go first? Or you want to
go for it? Go for it.
So the 2 questions I have, right? We get them, and when they say you're going to go off into the outer rim and basically figure this out, and basically we're going to take credit for whatever you do, right? So before that, we had seen when Jared Harris and the girl were talking that people were listening in. So I have to assume that anytime they talk, that people are listening in. So if they can listen in on everything, Jared Harris and the girl at the end are having like an intense conversation about all the plans that they're doing and planning for. Like, yes, we plan this. We're going to get on the outer rim. So is the Empire so drunk with power they don't give a crap that what they're saying? They're like, whatever. They're just out in the outer rim. We don't give a crap anyways. Or why wouldn't they be like, wait, so this was a plan all along? Maybe we should reverse this, like figure out what's happening. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I'm also confused, like with like the 3 people, can they kind of see any of the future and stuff like this, kind of the 3 clones? Could they do it? Because Jared Harris is obviously predicting the future based on science, but can they see any of this and kind of see their plan? Like, because I think we're going to be jumping between 2 time periods in this show. I think we're going to be now and then 35 years earlier when they are coming up with the plans to try to save, because they're like, in order to understand our future, we need to remember the past. And, they're working on something to shorten these dark ages, which best case scenario, it's going to only be 1,000 years. That's the best case scenario.
Yeah.
Could be 5 centuries, but right now thousand years is or whatever. But
Yeah. The second question I had was, okay, the shot where the people blow up the Star Bridge, right?
yeah,
It was right after at the tribunal that they're like guilty or whatever, right? When they leave the tribunal, it is daytime, complete daytime. You see the daylight. When it is blown up, they're still walking from the tribunal. One of the brother Day is sleeping, and now it's
maybe
dark.
that's why, because Brother Day is asleep. Maybe, I don't know.
I was like, what is going on here? They're still walking. They ran a mile or a marathon at this point, and they're still walking. What's happening?
Only thing I could guess is like, I don't know if they said it. I don't think this is Earth, so maybe it's like the sun is in a different spot and it's different.
Okay,
that's the only explanation I can maybe give, but I don't know.
I think it depends on where you're looking too, because remember that city level that that's all underground.
Yeah.
And we see the space elevator kind of pierce the roof, if you will. So depending on what shot is day and what shot is night may not be what's on the surface, or you know what I mean. There could be many different times going on at the same time because of that.
Yeah, and the space elevator station here may like actually eclipse the world. Maybe the sun was there, but then all of a sudden this thing got in the way, and it's so darn big that it just blocked the sun for a minute. I don't know.
Yeah, that is true. I was just so confused about, wait, they're walking away from the tribunal still, and then Brother Day's sleeping. It's like, does he just sleep whenever? I just assume that, or anybody just sleeps whenever, or that they don't have a. I mean, I guess that if it's not Earth, they don't have a circadian rhythm, right? Because we get circadian rhythm from the Earth, so they would just sleep whenever. I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking too much into this.
I don't know, or they're not thinking enough into this. But my one last thing I will say, I don't know when this came out versus all these other things and what borrowed from what, but sometimes it felt like a little bit like a best of. Not, I'm not familiar with source material, but it was like, okay. Star Wars, A New Hope, the opening. We got creatures on a desert planet, and a land cruiser goes by across, and it looked the exact same
very,
ship
very
from
similar,
that.
Yeah,
and then like this floating thing in the air. I'm like, okay, this is Arrival. Like I know it's not a spaceship, but it's like, this weird thing that just floats there, and you can't get near it. It's like, so there's like, again, I don't know what came first and what was based off of what, but I'm like, okay, there's that, space cliche. There's this space thing. Okay.
Yeah.
Check.
The other thing that I wanted to bring up is in the beginning, because I wrote down a note, what kids won't do for sex, basically, because the kid in the beginning, when he was there, the girl's like daring him, like, oh, if you depending on how close you get, I'll let you, grope me, basically. And he was like, both, and then he's like making a deal. It's just it's like, of course, this is like middle school age boys to the max, man.
Yep. I guess we've learned over thousands of years and centuries and all the technology, boys will be boys. Oh man. Well, all right. I don't know if I have anything else to say about Foundation. You guys gonna be watching more?
I got a few more, yeah.
Yeah, I'll probably check out a few more. It is interesting. It's just, it's long too. It's long. Like, you think with the 2 episodes, that's a feature movie.
Yeah. Apple has the money. For me, I think you guys know me at this point. I'm not a Game of Thrones. I'm not too big in the fantasy world and stuff. So if you guys tell me it's really good, and I'll come back and check it out. I just think between the time and the subject matter, it might just not be for me, even though I do love Lee Pace and Jared Harris and the rest of them. But all right, we got just enough time for like a little, I don't know what you would call it, a little check-in, a little quick check.
Quick check.
Yes, all right, quick check. We're checking in on the things that we're watching and doing individually. John, what are you watching?
Oh, first today. I finished Schmigadoon. It was interesting. I mean, I don't know if you guys care about spoilers. I don't want to spoil it for you if you intend on watching it, but you're good, Kyle. You're
Let
right.
it rip.
You
Huh?
good with spoilers for Schmigadoon?
Yeah, go for
Okay.
it.
If you have ever watched a musical, you know how this goes. I mean, almost to a T. They get to the perfect ending. The only thing they don't show is if they actually go across the bridge and get out of Schmigadoon. But everything else,
Season
them falling
2.
back in love, them, putting aside their differences, down to she had the stone the whole time, so it's her fault they were fighting over the to the T. I mean, it's a musical. You kind of know what to expect. Other than that, I thought it was good. I mean, if you like musicals, you'll like it. It's not a surprise that everybody has a song to sing. They come together at the end to defeat an evil that's not between the two of them, a third party, and yeah, it's what I kind of expected when I started seeing it. I mean, the whole time I was just reminded of Oklahoma, almost the whole series. So,
Yeah.
that's kind of it. I don't really have much more to say without diving into it.
Well, we talked about, I think, the premiere in
Mhm.
349, and in that we mentioned how if there is another season, it might be a good idea, or at least this was our pitch, to do another musical genre.
Style, yeah.
Do you think this would work in this, or do you want it just to be in this Schmigadoon world instead of being in this other kind of musical world?
No,
Or
I would
maybe
love
it's next door.
I would love to see a different musical world and a different couple, and
Okay.
still be Schmigadoon and still have the same concept, but just be spun into a different genre, a different couple. I think that'd be kind of cool to do. That would be tough to do, but I mean, look at shows like We Will Rock You, the Queen musical, and all that stuff. You can do musicals in different genres than just show tunes, So I think it could be done. I just think it's gonna take some planning to do it right and do it well.
All right.
I think our initial review of this, we were like, where can this go? Right?
It
And-
goes where you expect. I mean, literally,
Yeah.
they fight and they get back together. I mean, that's
Yeah.
that's it. I
Yeah.
can't. I kind of wish they had bent the genre a little bit and done something a little bit weirder.
Yeah, maybe
but-
this was a movie. Yeah, maybe it was more of a movie
Yeah.
pitch. But
Mm-hmm.
all right, that was Schmigadoon. We're gonna quickly check with Kyle. Kyle, you also have some. There was a musical in your show. Maybe they could do that as a genre.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
What
it'd be
show are
quite-
you watching?
It'd be quite different. I've been trying to catch up on It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. I've seen bits and pieces here, different episodes, but never seen it front to back, so to speak. Still making my way through it, but I'm about 8 seasons in. About halfway through.
Yeah.
Yeah, halfway through. And I gotta say, even for comedies, I'm thinking of ones that I've done in the past. I did a quick check for New Girl, and we got into season 6 and 7. It went downhill fast. And with these guys, they seem to have that rapport, and they still do wild stuff. And it's funny. Not every episode is going to hit, but what they come up with and just the way they get on each other and just how ruthless they are to each other. And, but also they're this kind of this egotistical, just self-righteousness that they have about themselves, even though they crap all over each other. It's like they still think they're the best. It's just such an interesting mix. I love Danny DeVito. I love all of them, really. They're all great, and they're great characters. So I really enjoy it. So there's some great. I mean, I've texted you a couple of times, Dave, after a few episodes that I really, really liked. And the musical episode is a great one. I love that. I love Fat Mac, and the entire season is him just like, it's mass. I'm putting on mass.
Cultivating mass. Yeah.
Yeah. And I like it. I'm gonna stick with it. I'm gonna keep going. It's like an easy watch, and I mean, at this point, I think everyone's probably seen bits and pieces of it because it's been on forever. But this is really just hearing my foray into it, and I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, I'm excited for you to watch more. I remember binging a bunch, maybe the first 3 or 4 or 5 seasons in college when I first heard of it, and then I've been watching it since. And yeah, there's definitely, I definitely like love the earlier seasons, but then
Mhm.
I also forget when those seasons are. I'm like, oh wait, what about this episode? Oh, that episode was season 12 or season 11, and there might be some more misses later on, but then there's always at least a couple in the season that are still home runs in season 11, 12, 13. So it's like they're doing something right, and definitely a great ensemble.
Yeah, for sure. And some great recurring characters like the waitress, Jimmy Simpson and that whole family. Like I just recently watched like the horror one where they all turn into zombies, but really it was bath salts, and that was a great one. That was just recent. That had me dying laughing because it was just like, all this just a misunderstanding gone totally wrong, and it's just so hilarious. But yeah, anyways, that's my quick check.
That's your quick check. And I got one quick check for you. Survivor 41. Survivor's finally back after a long hiatus, after Winners at War season 40. It's been a while. COVID hit them, but it's finally back. And going into the season, I was worried about it because it's been so long, from it being on, and there's been a lot of changes that Jeff has been teasing. They've been talking about a dangerous monster that if you don't devour it, it will devour you. It's going to be a new era. Drop the 4, keep the 1. And it's just like, all right, what are you talking like, Jeff? The show works. Don't mess around with it too much here. Keep it what it is. But so far, I'm liking what we're seeing. It's only been, they did a 2-hour premiere last week. We're getting another one tomorrow. The danger, at least I think so far, comes from the shorter season. It's going to be a lot tougher for them than usual. No rice. There's going to be less rewards, it's like the bare minimum supplies that they've ever done. And it's because of, it used to be 39 days. Well, it's 26 days now. And I think that's accounting for the 14-day quarantine that everyone, the cast, the crew of hundreds had to do before they got to start the game. So I don't know if they're going to keep that after, because they do 2 seasons back to back. So maybe season 43, they'll go back to 39, or they might keep it. But I still think it's going to be the same number of episodes. It's going to be the same show, but now just at a faster pace. So that could be even more exciting, because now they're going to be moving faster. Gameplay is going to be quicker. So that could be an overall positive for the show. The other changes, I kind of need to wait and see. Jeff kind of spoke a lot about how he's going to be breaking the fourth wall during the show. And he kept mentioning games for junior players. And this is where I was like, please God, I don't want Blue's Clues here. I don't want like, hey kids, do you see the idol over here? Like,
oh no.
So far, we haven't seen that. It's been like a quick blink and you miss it puzzle. You could pause and it's like a rebus puzzle. You can solve it. There's also like some talking to us directly, but it's more like aside. It's like giving us maybe some info before the players. Like, okay, here I'm at the, this beach. I'm going to put this advantage here for them. This advantage will do this, blah, 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 blah. And it's just kind of like, okay, you're just explaining this, you're talking to us, giving us a little info before the players. I'm okay with that. I just don't need the Fleabag, like, look to the camera.
Yeah.
But
could we say that Jeff is doing this to give himself more airtime?
I don't know. I think they're really trying to get kind of the more younger demo. They're on TikTok now. They're trying just to get the younger people involved for the demo and getting a family kind of show going. But yeah, they got a new twist called the Shot in the Dark, which is like literally like a dice where you get 1 in 6 shot. If you need a last chance immunity grab, you think you're worried, you're at tribal, you can drop it in 1 in 6 shot. You may pull it out, you get immunity, or you lose your vote. So that could cause an issue.
Oh man!
But
also, does everyone see that you do it?
No, it's secret.
Okay.
So, but everyone got a dice to start. So everyone has the same opportunity, which is kind of cool. So it's like, when do you want to play it? You get one for the season.
Oh man. Okay.
Could be chaos
interesting.
at the end if everyone is using it at the very end. So
Mhm.
I would have to wait and see how that works. Nobody's done it yet. It's only been really the first week. So we'll wait and see. So I went in worried that the whole show that I've come to love over 20 years was going to be completely changed. But so far, it's the show I like. I'm watching it. I'm excited it's back. So that's Survivor 41.
Nice.
All right.
Have you ever applied?
I have. Didn't hear anything.
Every year.
But hey, I don't know if I can do it anymore. If it's tougher, I can't do it.
Yeah.
I like my life the way it is.
Mine would be shot in the dark. I'd be like, "Can you shoot me in the back when I've been
you
dying?"
could, I think you could do Big Brother or that or the Circle. I think we were talking about. I think you could be a good Circle competitor.
Me?
Yeah.
Okay.
But that might be my quick check next week. Maybe.
Okay.
Next week we do have some other shows to talk about. Another Apple TV Plus and Netflix doubleheader. We're going to talk about The Problem with Jon Stewart, and then Squid Game. Midnight Mass was the number 2 show in the U.S. today on Netflix. Number 1 is Squid Game. We're going to try to figure out what that is. Make sure you never miss an episode by going to YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, the blog, doredundancy.com. And of course, we're live Tuesday nights on Twitch, twitch.tv/doredundancy, Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern. You can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at doredundancy. I got to thank both you guys for joining me tonight. Watching these shows were long, so I do appreciate your help with that. And for John getting the episode up on iTunes or Apple Podcasts. I couldn't do it without you.
Sure.
All right. Until next time, I'm David Allen.
I'm John Berwick.
And I'm Kyle Bridger.
And that's all we got for Dual Redundancy. Goodbye, everybody.